Hey class, today we're going to talk about poems, poetic structure, we're going to talk about poetic terms. Probably the number one thing I think that students ask questions about and have trouble with is poetry, especially when it comes to the final exam. So we're going to look at this in a little bit of detail. If you look over here, you'll see that we have sections of lines, and these are called stanzas. You probably know that from previous grades. Sometimes students forget that, but it's important to know that those are stanzas. A lot of times they're groups of 4 or more lines. Sometimes you'll see less lines, sometimes you'll see more lines. In old poetry, specifically from the Romantic period, a lot of times I like to use that 4-line set. So when we look at structure, stanzas are the primary way that we see structure in a poem. The first thing we probably will look at is how many stanzas are there, what are the stanzas about. You know, a lot of times we might annotate off to the side what we think it's about. So for instance, in this case, it says, a gentle boy with soft and silken locks, a dreamy boy with brown and tender eyes, a castle builder with his wooden blocks and towers that touch imaginary skies. We can tell it's about a little boy. We can tell it's about a castle. It looks like he's building it with a block set, maybe. So it's kind of like Legos nowadays. So we could say, little boy imagining building. And that way we just kind of have a little bit of a basis of what this is about. This is a great stanza for a lot of different reasons. We can look at a couple of different things here and talk about them with structure as well as other terms. So the first thing we do after the stanza is we should probably look at what the rhyme scheme is. So we have locks, eyes, blocks, skies. So I look at the first word, no matter what it is, I'm going to put an A next to it. It doesn't matter what it is. So the first word, always A. Look at the second word, eyes. Doesn't rhyme with locks, so we're going to put a B. If it had rhymed with locks, we put an A, similar to blocks here. So far we have locks, which rhymes with blocks, and we have eyes, which rhymes with skies. Okay. So that is how we do rhyme scheme. If if we had gone to skies and skies hadn't rhymed with anything, we'd put a C there. If the next line doesn't rhyme, we put a D there. And so on and so forth. You can get really crazy with this, but I recommend just trying to keep it simple. The A, B, C method works best. If you look over here, we have the first words of each of these lines starts the same way. We have A. That's what we call a parallel structure, and that's important when it comes to structure of free verse poems specifically, because that's one of the things you have to look for. They don't have stanzas a lot of times. They don't have rhyme scheme. So with parallel structure, it creates the illusion of there being that structure that comes from the stanza, that comes from the rhyme scheme. All right, so let's look at the next stanza real fast, and we'll do the same thing where we annotate it. A fearless rider on his father's knee, an eager listener unto stories told, at the round table of the nursery of heroes and adventures manifold. So once again, we're kind of in this little boy's imagination. We got to remember that from the first stanza. It doesn't change over that much usually. So a fearless rider on his father's knee, an eager listener unto stories told at the round table. So basically, we're looking at Arthurian legend. We're looking at knights and dragons. Arthur legend is what I'll put next to this. And imagination. All right. So there we go. That's that. Another term I want you guys to look at in this stanza that really demonstrates this is what we call slant rhyme. So slant rhyme isn't what you typically think of as a rhyme. Whereas we had locks, eyes, blocks, skies. Here we have knee, told, nursery, manifold. None of these words really truly rhyme with each other, but we still have a little bit of a scheme. So we have knee, which we'll go ahead and put A. I mean, we could have started with C if you wanted to. I like to do each stanza individually. Otherwise, you get to this crazy AA, AB, AC type thing. So we have told. Told does not rhyme with me. Now, there's not really a set way to label slant rhyme, but what we see with the slant rhyme is part of the word in A, knee, rhymes with part of nursery. So we have knee rhymes with the Y in nursery. So that's what we call a slant rhyme. Basically part of the word, but not the whole word, really rhymes. So I'll put an A, I'll put a little squiggly mark just to show that it's a slant. You might want to put a dash or something like that. Once again, we have told and manifold. That's a little bit closer of a rhyme, but still not exact. So we'll put a B and a squiggle mark. Now, one of the things to know about slant rhyme is it doesn't always have to be, even though in this case it was, the end of a word. It can be in the middle, it can be at the beginning. Anytime you have a syllable or more than one syllable that rhymes with a previous word, that's going to be a slant rhyme. So I hope this helps you. This is the basics of poetic structure. This is the basics of what poets look at when it comes to how to present a poem. You know, you have the stanzas, you have the rhyme scheme, those are givens, you have parallel structure, and you have slant rhyme. So I hope this was helpful. Next video, we're going to look at the second of the two, second set of stanzas, and we're going to talk a little bit more about wording. I'm not super sure how to turn this off.